Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good evening and welcome once again to SISTA TALK. I am glad that you are able to join us today once again. In today's show, we are talking to the pastors' kids. What are their challenges? What are the pressures that they face in life? What are some of the things that they have had to choose for themselves, or the paths that they want to take for themselves in life? Is it possible to just live your life as a pastor's kid, or it's already set for you? So in today's show, we have three pastors' kids who are going to engage us and tell us some of their challenges, pressures, and experiences that they have faced in life. And on set today, we have, first of all, Sheila Juma. Hi.
Hi.
Sheila is a songwriter and a music minister. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Glad to have you. Then we also have Deborah David. Deborah David is a student. How are you?
I'm fine.
Glad to have you today.
Thank you so much.
And lastly, we have Isabella Gasheru, who is a community resource manager.
Hi.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Glad to have you in the show.
Thank you so much.
So before we continue, please share the show, the feed on both Facebook and YouTube with your friends. If you're a PK, please text the other PK, because today we want to, form an encouragement hub here today. So thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. My name is Linda Talam. All right. So guys, Sheila.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
How has your week been?
It has been.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It has
been great.
It
It's been great.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Debbie, you're a student?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Are you closed or?
Yes, we have closed. Yes.
Are you doing online
Yes, from next term.
next term?
Yeah.
You are the people who are saying we don't want exams. Eh?
Kabisa.
You want a degree with no exams?
Kabisa.
Wow. Hi, Isabella.
Yes.
How are you? How is your week?
Doing well. My week has been fruitful. I thank God.
Is the Lord saying anything?
Sisai kwanza. But I know He does. He doesn't, not necessarily every time, but He does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So so let's just jump in. Sheila.
Yes.
You know you're a PK.
Yes, I know.
Your dad is an apostle. Your mom is a woman of God.
Yeah.
How did you yourself get to know the Lord for yourself?
Okay. How did I get to know the Lord for myself? I think of course, growing up, you see all these things. You see church, you see how church is done, you see how, people get saved, and all that. But I think for the longest time I used to have experiences, like even from when I was maybe like 4, like I'd have experiences where I hear my parents saying that I used to prophesy like at that age, or like just to experiences here and there that I've had leading up to the actual day I got saved. So when I did decide to get saved, it was not because my parents were like forcing me to get saved. It was a decision that I one morning woke up feeling so convicted, and I was like, I need to get saved. And that's just how it happened. And then the journey of getting to know the Lord for myself has been a very personal one. Let me just say, it has been a very personal one. Sometimes God has had to like wake me up, like hit me sometimes like, yo, Amka, you need to grow up in the things of the Spirit, because you can't depend, of course, on what your parents, their salvation and what they do. You have to cultivate that for yourself. And so it's been a very interesting journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. The Lord wakes you up.
Yeah.
Lord, please wake me up. Debbie, your dad is also a bishop, and there's that assumption,
Yeah.
My dad is born again, so me, I'm covered.
Yes.
Is it the same for you? Did you get to know the Lord for yourself?
No, not really. I remember my parents telling me that I actually remember this. There was one night that
we had all come together as a family and we were praying. It was our closing prayer so that everyone goes to sleep and whatnot. So I hear my dad start speaking in tongues, and me, I'm still a kid at this time. So I follow in his footsteps. So I start speaking as well. Whatever he's saying, I am following him. Whatever comes out of his mouth, it comes out of my mouth. So that day, I basically made everybody laugh that day, that night, and I was like, okay, we will like this. That was an interesting experience for me. Then it came to when we were in school, when I was in school, primary those days, and I'm like, for some reason, somebody was speaking. I don't remember who it was, but they were speaking. They were telling us that you really need to get to know Christ for yourself, not for your parents, not for your friends. Like this will happen only for you. So I remember, and I was like, okay. So he was calling people up to the stage and saying, if you want to accept Christ, come to the front and I'll pray for you. So I went up and then he prayed, and then from then on it was just like me getting to know him, like just him for me. He didn't wake me up at night, but he did his in his own way, you know, like it's a different experience exactly for everyone. So he just like, you know, he did it in his own way, but that's just how it happened.
That's awesome. Isabella, tell us a little bit of your journey too.
My journey is long, but let me just try and make it brief. I got saved when I was 6. Filled with the Holy Spirit when I was 7. But at that time, I hadn't matured, so I didn't know God for myself. Meaning, nilikuwa nasema, baba ya nini, God wa daddy, you know, all those kind of stuff. And I also had those experiences that my dad keeps on telling me that you are called to be a minister. You are called to be a minister when you were really young. When you were really young, because people used to come home, then my mom or my dad come and tell me like, go enda wimbe. So I used to entertain people. Then, you know, I'm a sanguine, so then there wasn't TV we didn't have TV at that time. So I was the full package of entertainment. Wow. I was a full package of entertainment. My parents told me that they used to hear me just singing songs and they couldn't retrace what kind of songs they were, but they were mine, you see. But later on when I was a teenager, and that's when I started growing in the faith by myself. And my dad keeps on telling me, even till date, like, it is not my God. It needs to be your God, not Mungu wa baba yangu. And it's not just because that your parents are pastors, but you need to know God by yourself. Because now if you say ni Mungu wa baba yangu, what if your dad is not there? Will he cease to stop being God? Wow. So that's where my journey started, and
you're still growing.
And I am still growing. Yeah. Yes.
Well, that's powerful, guys. I hope you're tuning in and sending your friends messages and inviting them for this show. So now, Sheila, you are in that process of, you know, getting to know the Lord for yourself. Of course, your parents are full-time ministers. Yeah. Did you at some point, or even up to now, feel some sort of internal pressure that just comes by being a pastor's kid?
I think that term pressure, it's so, like, it's been put or deemed, it's been used to mean like bad pressure. You know, of course there's that thing of, I don't know, I'm sure it's different for so many pastors' kids out there, but the kind of pressure like I experienced was not like bad, you know, because the only thing people would say or would have expected of me is, because I'm the pastor's kid, I am, you know, supposed to like be the good example to the other kids, and you know, maybe sometimes they'd be like asking me to lead some songs in Sunday school, or like, you know, actually one time one of the ladies in church came and told me, "Now Joe, watoto wetu wanakuangalia," and I'm like, okay, fine. For me, I don't take it as a bad thing, because who I am today was shaped by so many of those experiences. Because I matured so quickly, I became a leader. Like, instantly, just because of those kinds of situations that I was placed in. So that's the only kind of like pressure.
How about for yourself now? Like, did you find yourself placing pressure on yourself?
On myself?
Yeah.
No. No, I think there's always that walk that someone has to go through as a Christian, where sometimes when you're still immature and you've not learned a lot of things about the Word of God and what God calls you and what He's called you to be and to do, sometimes you find yourself having self-condemnation, and that's not just for pastors' kids. Like, that's just for everyone who you're like, if I've not done this, if I have not, like I don't know, prayed this number of times, if I have not been a good example to whoever, then I am a bad person, I'm not saved. I had those experiences, but then I learned, you know, through the Holy Spirit, who God calls me and all that. So pressure on myself, no.
You've
Oh,
grown
she's
up.
lucky.
So Isabella, tell us a little bit of your experience.
Pressure, let me say pressure is there. Pressure is there, but it also depends on how you take that pressure. Personally, when I was growing up, I thought it was bad pressure, but that pressure is the one that has made me who I am today. Because people are expecting you to act a certain kind of way, talk a certain kind of way, then it forced us to become leaders, like on the spot. It forced us to grow up very fast, and it is an advantage, but sometimes someone can feel like they have missed out in one thing or another. Then personally, when I was in high school, I didn't have the best experience in high school because people were really judging me because of being a pastor's kid, and there was a point that I wasn't able to stand up for myself. I wasn't able to stand up for myself because anasema, mtoto wa pastor hizi ongelesha watu hivi, or you're not supposed to react like that. I mean, so you are given the fruits of the Holy Spirit, you know, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness. Like, they just expect us to be perfect. You see, like perfect in the sense that we don't do wrong, we don't say wrong, and we don't act a certain kind of way. And when it came to that, so many people don't know this, but in high school is when I got the experience of suicidal thoughts, because it's really suppressed me. It really, really suppressed
No,
me.
because of people, like, they're expecting you to be like perfect in speech, perfect in whatever you're
Actions,
doing, actions.
everything. They're expecting me to be perfect in everything. Then in that expectation, they set me aside. They don't look at me as a normal teenager who's growing up with the same kind of issues, with the same kind of problems, with the same kind of needs. They think that we have a selective manual for the pastor's kids. You know, they think that we need to grow up a different kind of way and stuff like that. That's when even people introduce you to secular songs, you know, because you're, umesikia you, and because you don't want to be excluded from anything, you go and do your research, you know. Hata kama ni 5 minutes, you're like, ulisikia ile wimbo, so that you have a conversation. So that you have a conversation. And I'm like, manze ili bamba. Then if they ask you another song, you're like, God, how? Why did I even say I knew that song? You know, even movies, you know, movies, sometimes you can find yourself watching things that you're not really interested in so that you just fit in. And for example, when people are closing, they used to meet somewhere, then me, I'm like, siezi, I'm like, ni mtoto wa pasta, huku wezi fika, hata wanaweza kupea fare, unaangalia, wewe mtoto wa pasta, unafaa kuwekwa, you know, bumper to bumper. So it really broke me down at some point, but I didn't understand at that time that God was really molding me. Because I keep on telling my parents, the same people that really suppressed me, the people who bullied me because of being a pastor's kid, are the ones that are looking up to me right now for spiritual guidance. They are the ones who are looking up to me for help. There are people, I remember a day that tulikuwa tunafanya exam KCSE. And because I never used to hide that I liked praying. So I used to have my corner of prayer, hata kama ni ile ya 15 minutes, you know. So now during that time ndio wanasema suombe, at least maombi zako zinafikanga. You're like, now this is when you're appreciating the fact that I'm a pastor's kid, because you need help from it. You know, you need it.
That is quite an experience. I think we are going to talk a little bit about that emotional pain that one goes through because of that stigma and pressure that comes along with being a pastor's kid.
Yeah.
But let's hear from from Debbie.
My internal pressure experience is, how do I say this? Okay, so like what she said about the movies and the songs, when people ask you, no, you see, for me, I've gone to a Christian school all my life. And if there's one school that I didn't go to that was Christian, maybe that's just put aside. But for the rest of my school life, I've gone to Christian all the way. So there are times where they ask you, have you listened to this song? And you are like, okay, I have two options here. I can tell you I have listened to it, but then the problem is if you ask me the lyrics or something like that, I do not know. Yeah. Or I can tell you, no, I have not, but I will go and listen to it. And then there's also that feeling of, okay, you search it up and then you see how the first image looks, and you're already like, am I really going to do this? Because this is gonna get inside of me. And like when it's in your mind at the moment, you're like, nothing is going on. But then when you're sleeping, at times it comes back, and then there's always that pressure of, or that guiltiness of, hey, you have done something wrong. And exactly. And then if your parents came and looked at your phone right now and saw that song, that guiltiness literally kills you inside, and you're like, okay, now I've listened to the song. It's already in the past, but now I have to fix myself inside so that I can feel great. Because you'll never feel great about listening to something like you may be along with the crew or want to fit in or whatnot, but you'll really never.
Yeah, because literally music has power, Sheila.
Exactly.
You're in that you're in that ministry of music. And did you first of all feel the pressure of you wanting to listen to secular music? Or
yeah, okay, so like most of my life was Christian. Okay, not most, because I went to 824 until like class 6. So then I went to ACE, meaning it's a Christian school.
Yeah.
So I did my high school, and the remaining of primary and high school was Christian school. However, not to say the kids that are there are Christians.
They're not.
The school
that is
Christian.
Yeah. Yes. So when I got to around 11, 12, 13,
that is
14.
early teens.
Yes, early teens is when I started to like explore musically, because I was beginning to get interested in this thing. I started writing music and all that. So, and then of course in school, guys like they're saying like, oh, meskiza. So I was listening to some secular music until one day I was in my room alone, and I had my phone, and my phone had that music. And I think I was listening to that music, but then I can't, to this day, I cannot explain what happened, because I just stopped and I just knew you need to stop listening to secular music. Go to your phone, delete all the secular music. I did that. I went to my phone, deleted all the secular music. And when I tell you, I have never since that day had a desire to listen to I wouldn't even like go to radio and like Kiss FM or like
energy.
Like you don't want to go back to that position where you have to be told again, remove it. Like you don't want that.
It's that just dawns on you, like, guy.
But
this
that
is
day,
not where you're supposed to
right?
be. Yeah.
But that day, I think it was genuinely the Holy Spirit, because that desire for secular ilinitoka na ikanitoka kabisa to this day. And music is so powerful, because a lot of this, especially these days, a lot of the lyrics that are being put out there as number one, degrading, number two, demonic.
Very
completely
Demonic. And you know music, the thing with music is it's catchy, it gets stuck in your head.
And it stays.
And there's no filter for it.
You've been imagine at home you're like sleeping and then you start singing some reggae song and you're like, sasa hiyo nilisikia wapi? Ilikuwa kwa ile matulu kumepanda, but because it's music, it's somewhere in the back of your head, even if you're not actively listening, it's there, you know?
It's like a loop.
Exactly.
It keeps going. So guys, I hope you're enjoying the show, and you know we are sharing experience of these guys. They've talked about the internal pressure and external pressure that comes just by being a pastor's kid. And you know, Isabella, you mentioned a little bit about having the suicidal thoughts because of the stigma that came by being. How did you overcome those thoughts? Because I'm sure there are more pastors' kids who could be going through that right now, or those who went through that. How did you jump past that?
I think one of the things that really helped me is the prayers of my parents when I'm in school, because you know, at that time you just want to go, like you just don't want to experience that kind of stigma anymore. And I remember there was a time that I almost did it, and I was just telling my mom a few months ago. My parents hadn't known, and my parents knew juicy that these are the kind of experiences that I went through, the issues that I went through, the bullying that I went through. So I was telling my mom, there was a time that I went at the top. We had a very tall building in school. I went at the top of the building at night when people are in preps and stuff, and I was like, God, me, I can't take this pain anymore. Like, I don't know, I don't understand why. It's not like I'm the one who chose to be a pastor's kid. I'm not the one who chose to be a pastor's kid, but yet I carry this burden of being a pastor's kid. Then when I was about to, you see, like how she can't explain what happened when it came to her stopping music, secular music, I just felt something just hugging me, you know. There's warmth, there's just warmth. Then it just drew me from where I was stepping. Then he said, it is okay, my child. Don't worry, everything is gonna be fine. So from that day, I started knowing for like, you getting an assurance is very important, because it helps you build confidence. It helps you build confidence. So that from that day is when I started working. Like, mtu akikuwa na shida ati mimi ni mtoto wa pastor, like, if your dad is a businessman, then why don't I have a problem with you being a businessman's child?
You're not offering loans.
I mean,
Wow.
I mean, and it got to a point I was telling people, you know, the person that you're degrading is the same person that utatumia tu. Like, there's no point of burning bridges just because you don't like me. You know, there's no point of burning bridges. Like, we are not going to see each other after these 4 years, most probably, which has really happened. And the funniest thing is, even those parents who are CEOs, who are businessmen and businesswomen, they're the same ones that come to our parents' office to ask for prayers. And our parents don't know that we are going through a certain, probably ni mtoto wa huyu alinifanyia hii or something like that. And so me realizing that there's a point that these guys will need me, and there's a point that they need my parents also. And it is not my choice, but I need to embrace the fact that I'm a pastor's kid and grow with it, because it has benefits. It has a lot of benefits. And I felt so bad that I realized it later.
Wow.
I realized it when I was older. If I realized it when I was in Form 1, I would ningekuwa nakanyaga watu vichwa. You know, like on a lighter note.
So it's important for someone to a pastor's kid, to embrace the fact that you are a pastor's kid.
You are a pastor's kid. Embrace that you have the responsibilities. Embrace it, and just get an understanding that these things are going to help you later on. Like, you might not see it right now, but these things are going to help you later on. And like what I went through has really given me a way of walking in confidence. My esteem is high up, like high up. Someone comes and tells me I'm not beautiful. I'm like, let me pray for your eyes because
Really?
because literally I think you're blind.
Okay, Isabel, I think I like your points that one has to first embrace that they are a pastor's kid and to realize that there are benefits of just by being, you know, your parents, the ability of them praying for you is already a benefit in itself.
Yeah.
So, Debbie, did you at that point have to, you know, come up with principles or values or things that will guide you through life, just for you to be able to overcome that pressure?
Not really, honestly, because like I just let it go with the flow, to be honest. Like I let whatever happen. Because at the moment, at the time in my life, I was like, you know what? I had just started experiencing who Christ is. And I already know that my parents are Christians. Like I knew the fact that my dad was a bishop. So there was a certain way that I had to, like, you know, like for me in my own self, like there was a way I had to behave for myself, not for my parents, not for my friends, not for anyone else around me. Because no matter how many people are looking at me, thousands, millions, billions, it doesn't matter. It will always come back to me like, why did you act this way? Because it's always said that the fact that you're gonna be judged you alone. You're not gonna be judged with your friends, you're not gonna be judged with your sisters, your siblings.
Your
You'll be
parents.
standing by yourself.
By yourself.
So if you do something wrong and you don't fix up for it, then on that day of judgment, you'll be asked yourself, why did you not change?
So take personal responsibility.
Exactly. And
for
also
your
on like
behavior.
the friendship thing, like I was like, it's not my fault. I'm a pastor's kid. I can't change that. If I went back in time, maybe some things would have been different, but I can't change the fact that I'm a pastor's kid. So if you don't really like me, I'm sorry. But
Yeah,
And my dad says it is okay to say no.
exactly.
it's okay.
It's okay to
Sheila,
say no.
did you have to develop a certain kind of skin to,
Absolutely.
yeah?
Of course, the normal teenage issues of, you know, wanting to fit in, wanting to be accepted and all that. But I think when I finished high school and went into campus was one of my biggest like challenge experiences for me, because of course I was coming from a Christian, I always say I was in a Christian bubble. Yeah, my friends were Christian, my school was Christian, church friends were Christian, everything, you know. So coming from that into now a secular university, it was like culture shock.
Yeah.
It was genuinely culture shock, because I remember I was that girl during orientation when you're getting to know each other, and I was always the one saying, oh yeah, I don't drink, I don't cuss, I don't go to clubs. So people are like,
I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't know those
I
things.
don't, yeah, I don't do day one. As in day one, and I'm telling people this day one. So the people are just like, yeah, you know how last night, that club, me and my mom went, and I'm like,
Your
you
mom.
and your mother. Hey.
Let me be found with my mother.
Kwa club kwenda mama yako. So it was really a culture shock. You know, I remember actually one time someone asked me, is it that you stopped drinking or you just don't drink at all? I'm like,
We are going to pick up from there.
You know?
Did you stop drinking or you don't drink at all? We are going to take a short break. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back. Thank you for not going anywhere. And before we went on a break, these guys were telling us how they had to develop a certain kind of skin for them to, you know, prevail through the circumstances, especially during teenage. One of them is embrace that you're a pastor's kid, take personal responsibility, and know God for yourself.
Yeah.
That's very important. Then before we went on a break, Sheila was telling us about this Christian bubble she was in.
Yeah.
And someone asked you whether you had stopped drinking or it's just that you've never
So
drunk at all.
they were really, like, people are really surprised to see this girl who's like Christian Ukweli, you know, because for them, I was an alien, and to me, they were like aliens, because I've never interacted with such people before who genuinely don't have a church life, who genuinely like are not Christians, they've not grown up like I did. Because for me, in my head, in my world, the only type of people that were existing were people like, you know, church.
Like
so for me to meet people who genuinely, that's not their life or never has been their life, it was a very interesting thing to see. Because like, I remember that time William McDowell was coming to Kenya. So I was so excited for his concert. So I was so one time I was telling my friend in college, I'm like, hey, tomorrow this day me and my friend are going for William McDowell's concert. And they're like, who is that? And then that time, I gave myself away. So all churches were singing that song. So I'm like, it's such a new song. I gave myself away. And they're like, and I'm like, I cannot fathom. How do you not know that song? Maka was like, you don't have a church life, Yani. As in, I was so shocked. That first semester was a really big culture shock for me. Yeah.
Do you feel, Debbie, that having grown in that Christian bubble, let's borrow Sheila's word, that you are somehow limited in terms of exposure, you know, of the people around you and the way of life of people, so that you experience shock every time someone tells you, I go to a club with my mom?
Yeah. How do I say this? Like, I came from an 8-4 school. Then when I came in, because I'm in ACE, but when I joined ACE, I was shocked. Like the culture shock that is like, you guys really do this? Like, because for example, like, you know, now in 844, you go with the teacher's pace. In this system of ours, you go with your pace. Like, you do how you want to do work. And then now you see in 844, you raise up your hand if you have a question, right? Us, we have flags. We have the Kenyan flag and we have the Christian flag. Kenyan flag, you raise it up in, like, if you want to go to the washroom or if you want to score, or Christian flag is when you need help. So me, I'm coming in and I'm like, yeah, okay. And then the other thing is that even though I knew Christ for myself, like when I joined, I had never known like him as close. Like, we was just at the beginning stage. So now me, I'm going in, and then there are people who are leading praise and worship. So me, you see, this is the thing. I used to sing in like church and whatnot, but once a while I wasn't like in the praise and worship or anything, and I still am not. So I like,
and people should not pressure you.
Exactly. So when I joined the school now, I started like singing just for myself, just me. And then they had a few numbers of singers. So they started asking me if I could join. Now, I did not like singing in front of crowds whatsoever. It does not matter how many you are. I just don't like singing in it. So I started that there, and then I got used to it. But then the thing is that when you do something wrong, you're like, it's like you've done the biggest crime.
It's magnified.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know this. Now that I know it, you don't have to like, you know, continue it. So like the pressure was like, for me, knowing him and then going through all of this, that Christian bubble was like, it kept on growing bigger and bigger as we went on, because like people used to add things, and then you take things from, like, you learn things from other people. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, so that's just how it was.
Isabella, do you feel pressure to be a minister? Because your parents are ministers, you know, you've been in church at 6.
I know there are people who are watching, and they know they call me pastor, and they tell them Goja Kwanza. Those are my parents. When God wants me to become a pastor, He will tell me.
Preach.
He communicates. Yeah. He's a very good communicator.
Very.
Clear one, in fact.
Completely. She's been blessed by
Preach it. Kabisa?
Yeah, everybody are like, utakuwa kama babako, pastor, you know? Let me tell you, like audience, we have a communication system with God. So we don't really need people to tell us. We don't really need people to tell us. God tells us and he confirms it. So if it is not time, don't give us the pressure of being ministers. Don't give us the pressure of being pastors. Like personally, I know I serve in the praise and worship. I serve in the praise and worship. There are prophecies that have been made of our lives that we shall minister. But that time hasn't come yet. When it comes, fine. I will submit to what God has said. But for now, let me do what I am feeling is okay and what God has already approved, which is service in our parents' churches, you know. And let me just be comfortable. Let me just be okay with where I am. Because the reason why I'm not probably a pastor at this time, it's because God is still working on me. You know, God is still working on me. I am still growing. I am still growing. There are certain things that I need to experience before I become a minister. But your pressure inakuanga. Everybody thinks that even being a pastor is genetic. You know, it flows. It just flows with us. It just flows with us. You know, there are people who pastors' kids who are not even interested in ministry completely. You know, thank God for those who are at least who are serving
showing signs,
who are showing signs and ministering and serving in their parents' churches. But there are people who are not there and they have not been called to do that, and it is totally okay. People don't have to call us pastors, evangelists, apostles, bishops, you know.
Or if it's just not for you.
It's just God speaks. In other words, God speaks. And when he speaks, we shall listen and we shall follow.
Okay, guys, so let's leave pressure to the pressure cooker. Don't pressure pastors' kids to be pastors if they are not ready, to be bishops when they are not ready, to be apostles when they are not yet.
Or in
Sheila,
general.
are there like pressure for you, especially in terms of ministry, to be a certain kind of way?
If there is, if there is from other people, I block it out, and I think I've done a good job at blocking that out because I genuinely don't care. No, I'm not even fronting what people want me to do, what they expect me to become. At this point in my life, I have a very straight line that I am following as per God's instructions for my life. So whether you come and start telling you it's a good idea if you become this, or it's a good no. Are you the one saying, or are you? Or
where is it in the Bible?
Is it a must?
Is it a must?
Is it a must? So, I mean, for me, at this point in my life, I'm so sure about a few things in my life. I'm not going to say everything because God reveals in part, in steps, you know. But at least I'm sure as of now that what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm doing that. And so, if there's people out there who are thinking that I should be doing something else with my life, okay, wait, please, you're wasting your time. What? For real, because I already know what I'm supposed to be doing at this very moment. If God decides to say something else in the next 5 years, I am so open to it. Like Isabella has said, God speaks and clearly. And this is something my parents know as well. Like God speaks to this girl. Now, the way just things have happened in her life, wachana na yeye na Mungu wake. Of course, they are there to guide you, to give you advice and all that. But at the same time, if it is outside pressure at this point in my life, I cannot let it affect me.
Because it's a personal walk.
Everyone has a path in God.
Right.
Whether you're a pastor's kid or just, you know, should we call it general? Or not, everyone has a path, and God leads, and every path has, you know, its time. So let's allow people to grow in their time and in, you know, the pace that God allows them to grow in. Let's switch gears a little bit, Debbie. Are there challenges that are there just because you're a pastor's kid? You know, there's that mentality.
She's even adjusted. She's just adjusted herself.
Challenges that, you know, just because you come from a pastor's family, or, you know, the family of a pastor, what are some of the challenges that you have experienced?
Yeah. One,
Yeah.
how you sit in church. That is number one, how you sit in church, especially now in the eras of cameras are around.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say you could be seated like this and you're listening to the pastor, but everybody else knows that you're a pastor's kid. Once you see someone who you know, they're close with your parents or whatnot, you have to change positions as to how you sit.
Wow.
And if you don't know, it's not for everybody.
No,
It's
that's interesting.
exactly, but
Wow.
it's not for everybody. But like, there are people where if you see, they see you and how you sit, you're just like, okay, because that evening or whenever other day it will be brought up again, and you'll be asked as to why you are doing this. Number two, what you wear. If the dress or the skirt is slightly above your knee, not even at it like over here, slightly above your knee, that is a problem.
No, that means skirt.
Exactly. That is a problem. It either always has to be below your knees, or it's like a long dress like this, or it reaches your ankles, or you're just wearing trousers. And trousers are not the ones where like you have ripped jeans all the way till here. Like ripped jeans for most parents and most pastors, they're okay with their kids having them on their knees. But there are some who will not even let you wear that. Number 4 or something like that. Most pastors' kids most pastors' kids have never gotten the experience to have short shorts or what are they, crop tops, or just things that have like cleavage, because they expect you as the bishop's daughter or as the apostle's daughter or as the pastor's daughter, you have to wear, like, you have to represent yourself, because there are days where your parents won't be there in that church and you'll be the one representing them, because they know that you are you're the pastor's kid. So like if you come in here with a short skirt and a crop top and like, you're walking in church like, like you own the church or something like that, or you're just walking in church and you're going to sit and listening to the pastor, nobody will listen to the pastor. All eyes will be on you. All eyes will be on you. And then they're like, they're like, hey, mtoto wa pastor vile amevaa. Hey, this is the one who's supposed to take over the church.
So someone in church actually may not be blessed by the sermon just because a pastor's kid is not behaving the way we are expecting her to behave.
Exactly.
Isabella, do you have any more challenges?
Yeah, I'm telling you, the challenges are everybody thinks that I need their advice. Hey,
Preach it.
dear Father. Like everybody thinks that whatever they think about your life is the right thing.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, can I tell you, let me advise you. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to wear like this. You need to walk like this. Najua ni mtoto wa pastor, unafaa kukua nini. I mean, your opinions matter, but they don't necessarily have to matter to
Exactly.
me. Like I already know. I have personally 26 years of experience of being a pastor's kid. Of course, I have learned something along the way. I know there are certain ways I'm not supposed to act, and there are certain things I'm not supposed to be seen putting on, all those kind of things, because I say pastors' kids are like walking Bibles. Like walking Bibles. People can say, Kai, nangala mwenye pastor's kid amevaa.
You're a witness.
Probably, yeah.
Probably you guys are what Paul was talking about, the letter that is being
Probably. He also.
Yeah.
Anyway, so me, I think the part for advice, like people just want to get into your life. People just want to have business in your life.
Yeah.
Like even when it does not involve them, they make it their business. It's like you're being parented by the entire congregation. And it gets, I believe it gets tiring. Like, okay, I already know. I mean, like I said, God talks. He speaks clearly. I already know where I need to go. You see.
So yeah, we've heard from Debbie dressing advice from every congregant has an advice. And the fact that a pastor's kid has been placed there like a mirror. How the sermon is going to go depends on how the pastor's kid is going to be. Sheila, do you have any challenge?
I think I would piggyback on what Bella has said. I remember one time I was sitting somewhere. Someone, because they're close to my dad, someone came up to me and for a good 30 minutes talked to me about my career, talked to me about my ministry. Wow. They were telling me, you know, this is what you should be doing. Like they outlined a whole
5-year plan.
5-year plan for my life. And I was like, first of all, mtu anajua hata jina yangu ya pili. Hata penye nilienda shule anajua. You know, just that feeling of, and I'm not saying everyone does this, but for the people that do, sometimes it can get so
overwhelming.
It's not annoying.
It is annoying.
Because it's not like they necessarily know everything about your life, but because they have, or maybe they're close to your parents, then they're like, okay, now I am your parent also. You know, I don't know. But for me, that would be the only.
That would be the one of the greatest.
And you know,
challenges.
sometimes it's so hard to like dismiss, like you don't know how to like respectly.
Zilla's like, peace, okay, fine.
Respectfully dismiss.
So you have to painfully sit
sit through it.
The
1 hour advice session of your whole life. It has
That's
happened,
true.
and it has happened not once.
So it's not necessary just because you know, I am close to your parents, because I know before we started the interview I asked you guys if you know each other, and you know, you guys said our parents know each other.
Very true.
So just because your parents know each other does not mean I know you. Like I don't know you. I don't know what your parents have talked to you about. I don't know what desires you have for life. Probably the first step should be, Sheila, what are your plans? You know, start from there then.
You know, the problem is they take, you see how you can buy a book, then you read the preface, then you think that you know exactly what the book is all about. But you've not even opened up the pages. That's the thing. They think because of the association they have with our parents, they really know us, and they have the obligation to guide us or parent us, which is not the case.
That's awesome. So guys, I hope you're enjoying the show and you're hearing what these pastors' kids are saying. I know some of you are being stepped on your toes, but it's okay.
No offense.
It's okay. It's no offense, because we learn each day. And it does not mean that the pastor's kids are, you know, hard-headed. What do you call this? What's the word? Kichwangumu. No, it's just that, just like other kids, they need space for themselves to grow.
Can say that again.
So I think we can switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the, you know, the fallacies or the false, what do you call this? The false expectations that people, or the false thinking that people have towards a pastor's family. There is that, right? We have a certain mentality that's fallacious towards a pastor's family. What are some of these things that we know?
Let me start.
Sheila,
Growing up, I think maybe you've experienced the same thing, but growing up, that thing of mapastors ndo wanakula sadaka. Unajua umelelewa na sadaka yetu. Unajua hiyo gari unaendesha ni sadaka yetu. You know, I've seen my parents grow. I've seen our family grow. I've seen when we did not have a car, to our first Ngodi, KZT, to where we are now. Like, I've seen that journey. I've seen so many times where we you know, my mom would not have food, and we pray and food comes. Like, I've seen all those miracles. I've seen faith being tested. I've seen growth. You know, just like any other business, you'd expect a business to grow, or a child, you'd expect them to grow. But for some reason, people expect pastors to just remain. I don't know.
Just be on a plateau.
On a plateau. If there's any growth, hey, zile masadaka tunatoa.
Kwanza last Sunday we gave seed.
Wow. You know, I like something that Dad said the other day. If you did not see my first movie, do not talk about the car I'm driving now, because you don't know the journey that you know the family has gone through. And so for me, that has been something for a really long time when I was younger. Right now, you can say what you want. But at the time, I was like, ilikuwa inaniuma kidogo, because I'm like, but that's not true. I know my parents. Yes, there are pastors that do that. Yes, there are false ones out there who are fishy and all that. But my parents, I know for a fact that they've been clean. I know I've seen a journey that makes sense. Yeah.
So the fallacy is the pastors are eating offering, and they are growing in terms of their financial capacity and whatever they have in life, because they are eating the offering that we give on Sunday.
Right. So unaitwa mtoto wa sadaka.
So probably that's why some people have an entitlement towards a pastor's kid. They feel, after all, we are feeding you.
Ni kama umenunua shares.
That's sad. You guys, that's a fallacy and it's false. Yes, there are people who do that, but we have, clean pastors out there.
Yeah.
Debbie, do you have any?
Miss Ezekiel again. Like, I can't really speak on that part, because for me, like, I was still young while they were, like, and even like right now is when I've really gotten to start seeing like them and how it is. Like, I've seen them go through, like what Sheila said, go through money problems, have money, and like even the when you give offering, like that one, I think I'm still on that with her. When you give offering and like now it's all done. I never really understood when I was a kid where that money goes to or who it goes to.
Because you in your mind as a child, you think, but dad and
they
mom,
keep it somewhere.
they're giving, they have money.
Exactly, like they have. So me, whenever because we have a church in upcountry, so whenever people give offering, one day I went and I asked my mom or one of my friends. I don't even know if it was my mom or one of my friends, but I asked them, where does this money of offering go to? Like, who does it go to? And then they're like, see, your dad, of course. And I'm like, like, they actually, like, it actually goes to the bishop of the church. Now your dad actually gets it. And then they're like, yeah. And I don't know, but somebody made this comment and I was like, wait, hold on, that's not the only way. But they said, Kwani, how do you think people get, like, how do you think you're able to afford some things? Or how do you think that you're able to like get the things that you have now? Like, they made that comment and I was like, okay, hold on, because they also have jobs, they also do other things other than preaching the word. And when they're preaching the word, it's not like they're gonna use this money for evil doing or whatnot. God has already given them an instruction as to what to do with that money.
Wow. Okay.
Because
that, I think that's one of the major fallacies that's out there. But let's talk about dating. I know you're married, Isabel.
This is a topic.
Is there pressure to get married to a pastor? Or to marry within your church?
People really expected that I'd get married to a pastor or a pastor's kid, actually, so that it balances. Because this guy probably has the same understanding as you, has gone through the same things as you, and stuff like. But it is really important. I bet it is really important that we pray about our relationships when we are younger, before we get into the relationship, and even during the relationship. One of the things that I prayed for is a man that is available to also serve the way I'm serving. And I know this can sound petty, but sikuwa nataka kusonga churches. So a man that will be serving also with me in the same church, So, though, thank God those things were answered, because now, as I said, I'm married to one man. We met in ministry, in dance ministry. Then when we were sent to Thika Road, he moved together with us. And that's when he said that he do want to serve the man of God personally. And he became the PA. Now I'm married to my dad's PA.
So it's clearly, though there was, expectation for you to get married to someone who is a pastor, you got married to someone who is your heart's desire or your prayer to God.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sheila, are we expecting you to get married to an apostle?
I mean, I've been told that so many times baka nikawachana too. So many people would be like, hey, so you're going to get married to a pastor, or like you're going to become a pastor's wife. Like that is the expectation. But imagine me in talent and don't. I mean, what will you do?
It's
What I do?
like it's my choice.
It's my choice.
Yeah.
I think for me, as soon as my parents, put their stamp on it, everyone else, you
You'll
accept
have
or
to
you
flow. Yeah.
you accept or you don't. That's your business. But I know of actually a lady who got married, a pastor's kid, and in their church, the congregants walikuwa namuuliza, yani she got married to someone in media, and then akamuuliza, yani out of everyone, uliona mtu wa kamera. Yani people were coming up to her kumuuliza, out of kila mtu, mtu wa kamera uliona.
You only saw a camera guy.
And I'm like, yani the entitlement.
So the camera guy is not a pastor?
Right.
Sio ungesema ananipeanga angles poa.
Right.
Like ananichapa na angles
Ati
poa.
mtu wa kamera. Pastor's kid mtu wa kamera.
You know the camera guy is right now here. Really? So guys, we have to come to the end of the show, and I'd like you guys to give your parting shot. We'll start with you, Debbie, just for 30 seconds. But before we forget that point, allow the pastor's kid to marry whoever they feel in their heart, and they're right with God to get married to them. So, Debbie, just give us your parting shot in 30 seconds. Look at that camera.
I guess what I'll have to say is that just in God's time, things will work out. Like, as for you, when it comes to your marriage, your school, your business, whatever, it will work out in God's time. Don't rush, don't stress yourself out. Don't have an expectation of just because your parents are a pastor that you have to get married to a pastor. And that also, if you're in school and you're struggling with all this bullying and whatnot of you being a pastor's kid, just learn to live with it, honestly, because you can't change it, and it won't change. There's so many blessings that will come from you just being a pastor's kid. So embrace it.
That's awesome. Isabella, look at this camera and talk to a pastor's kid.
Well, being a pastor can have its highs and lows, but that's who we are. And we can't change, and we did not decide to be here, but we are here. But just an encouragement: love yourself for who you are, and just embrace everything that comes to you as a pastor's kid, because it is a stepping stone to a greater height. And God is a man. God is not a man that he should lie. So whatever he has spoken in his word, and what he has spoken over your life will come to pass. And people's opinions don't really have to be necessary in your life. You can choose who to listen to and who not to listen to, so long as it aligns to God's will about your life. So you just stick to that truth, believe in God, pray, and everything will just work out.
Wow, that's awesome. Sheila, look at that camera and talk to not necessarily a pastor's kid, but a congregant, or the generation that's watching you right now, and just give your parting shots.
The congregants, hi. I think as someone who's attending a particular church, the family of the pastor have a journey that they've been through. You've maybe gotten them or gotten to be part of that church when they are maybe halfway, or penye umewapata. There's so many things that they've gone through. There's so many things that they've grown through, and so just try to understand, or to kind of like know what that journey has been, so that you're not so quick to judge, you're not so quick to point a finger, just so that you can also be part of their life in a meaningful way, and not just, I don't know.
So guys, the pastor's kid is a person like you, he's a child like your child, he's a teenager like that teenager in your estate. Don't pressure them, don't give them expectations that are not manageable, even by a child that is growing within your area. Give them space to grow, allow them time to be who the Lord has called them to be, and let them enjoy their childhood, their teenage, and even let them marry who they feel is right for them. I've been your host, Linda Talam, and today we were hosting Pastor's Kids. I hope you have learned one or two things. See you again next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.